Lizzo does not like it when blondes do jean commercials. We all have to live our lives to in a way that we don't anger Lizzo or various other celebrities that we will never meet. So,
yeah, well, I don't really care.
Hi, I'm Mark Daly, and I'm here on the All Over the Place podcast, where the funsanity never ends.
Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place. I'm your host, Eric Portvoznik, welcoming also back to the stage, Jim Culver. How are you, my friend?
I am great. It's 80 degrees here in the Northwest, and the big yellow ball in the skies came out to say hi today. So that put me in a good mood.
And it's 7:30 as we're recording this, 7:30 p.m. and you still have sun in the sky. Very nice.
Indeed, you can see a little light streaming in the background, and that's a rarity around here. But what can I say? I love summer here.
Well, I'm in the worst lit apartment in the Metro Phoenix area, so I'm envious of words you don't hear often, folks. I'm envious of Seattle area sun.
You won't hear it often from anyone, even me.
There you go. Well, also out here in the desert, Kathy Rankin, how are you? Welcome back.
Good.
So yeah, we're a little bit above 80 degrees here right now, Jim, in the Valley of the Sun.
Ooh, it's been hot.
Heat index. The kids at school, we've only been able to have recess before 10 a.m. That's how hot it is.
Yeah, it's been brutal, but we know this about Arizona.
But that's why it's August. It's Metro Phoenix.
What do you expect?
To live here. We do not shovel heat at any point during the year, and in about 3 months, I'm not shoveling snow. We've talked about that enough on the show. Yes. So, Marty joining us in an interesting fashion this week. We're going to be doing two little separate 3 for recording sessions, and hopefully this turns out as good as I think it's, or as awesomely as I think it's going to. So we're just flying by the seat of our pants with some current events topics, some other topics, and I'm going to start things off very quickly. Well, actually, first I want to thank everybody. Last week's episode, we're getting more and more subscribers, getting more and more views. We thank you. Can't thank you enough, everybody. And also want to thank the fine folks over at Vinyl Record Dude, Nick, and all the gang over there at their new location on Shea and Scottsdale in Scottsdale, Arizona. Make sure you check them out. I've got the ticker there rolling with their website. You can also, if you're not in Scottsdale, you can still shop online with Nick, and he can find you about anything. He picked me up an NXS Decadence. That's how good he is. That's how deep cut they go. Nice little 80, 12-inch from them. And also, if you are a concert-loving person, like I think all of us here are, and Jim, by the way, make sure you go see Zachariah this week. He's up in your neck of the woods in Seattle.
That's
2 days, 15th and 16th. But for all other concert needs, make sure you check out Danny Zalesko Presents DZP Live/events and get up to speed. He does concerts here in the Southwest and across the country. Check that out, DZP Live/events. And now I want to get things kicked off with, I got some new wardrobe this week, and I want to thank Miss Sydney Sweeney for making all of us aware of American Eagle. So you guys liking my fancy new shirt there? Trying to be as spiffy as can be here in the summertime. A little light color. I figured it works well here in all heat indexes and whatnot. So American Eagle, way to go!
I might even say you genetically look good in that shirt.
Why, thank you. The receding hairline gene is all too prominent, but I can't help that. That's mom's side on that one. But anyway, still got the baby blues. I got that going for me genetically, and some semi-high cheekbones, which is allegedly from some American Indian Shawnee. I don't know. I don't get paler than anybody, so I don't think there's any American Indian in my genetic makeup. But thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. So yeah, it's American Eagle. Check them out. And also check out Kathy. It's currently only on TikTok, and we all have our various feelings on TikTok and how effective it is for those of us who don't know how to maneuver it well. But Kathy has an amazing American Eagle parody up over there. Tell us about that, Kathy. And I'm going to direct all people. I'm going to link it up for people over there.
It was a spur of the moment whim. I was at home and it popped into my head, the Sydney Sweeney ad. Just the fact that there's so much controversy over it, I thought was silly. and I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but I just thought, it was a great ad, but she's beautiful and she looks great in the commercial. But I thought, for real women who aren't 20, I thought I would make something kind of spoofing it to be a little bit more relatable for those of us who, aren't necessarily sure we have the greatest of genes. Or maybe we liked our genes 20 years ago and now they're not working as well. So I just spoofed that ad with a little comedic take of my own for women that I think are, over 20 or maybe over 30 or maybe over 40 and 50. So that's what that was about. And I threw it on TikTok and I haven't even looked at it since. I don't even know what I don't know what I got one guy. A lot of people liked it, thought it was funny. And then one guy commented, "What, do you think this is funny?" And I thought, yeah, that's why I did it.
Oh yeah, you know what? For those of you who have, and why did you? And if you have missed our conversations recently about the Naked Gun, the latest entry with that, and also the requels with Happy Gilmore 2, and then also King of the Hill. Kathy knows what she's talking about when it comes to spoofing. So suck it if you don't like it. It is funny. And if you don't find it funny, then you are one of those people enjoying the new Naked Gun.
That's the world of social media, though. There's you're always going to get that. There's keyboard warriors and trolls who literally that's all they do is they go to try and stir up crap and get reactions. And this is the sad state of the world we live in right now. We could go down a rabbit hole on that, but at the end of the day, you gotta learn to lighten up and have fun. And it's just people take things way too seriously.
Thank you. And I very briefly will go down one of the, hopefully it's only briefly, but this rabbit hole. And yes, I've worn this for a reason as a statement. But as Kathy mentioned, the keyboard warriors. I don't wake up every day. Actually, I don't wake up any day looking to be angry. Yeah. And just go looking for a problem. I wake up and to be honest, I wake up and thank the Lord I've got another day to try and do some good in the world. Yeah. And how tiring is it to look for every little quirk, every little a grievance? Sydney Sweeney did a commercial about jeans, Jeans, and someone had to turn it into Genes. Come on. And in the almighty words of William Shatner on Saturday Night Live, get a life. And or get out of your parents' basement. Sometimes it's one and the same. But yeah. So if you want to wear American Eagle, awesome. If you don't. You've got that choice.
Yeah, skip it.
Yeah. I mean, well, this is what happens when people's minds get filled up with there's horrible people everywhere. There's all this evil out there, all this bigotry, and we have to go stomp it out to make our world perfect. So you just get up you get filled with that, and you get up in the morning and you look for that everywhere you go, and you see it everywhere. You start seeing, bigots and Nazis in your soup. I mean, it's crazy because you're just looking for something to attack because that makes you a good person who's fighting the good fight. But you just start seeing it everywhere. I mean, these jeans ads 10 years ago, these kind of ads were everywhere. I mean, these people could not handle a Jack in the Box ad from 10 years ago with Paris Hilton. Their head would explode. So,
the Carl's Jr. commercials. Yeah.
Carl's Jr. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. And, this stuff was ubiquitous 10 years ago. And so for it to make a very slight comeback for people to act like it's the apocalypse is just, it's laughable for anybody that's been paying attention to the culture for more than 10 years. But, if you're 25 years old and you've been taught to just see, anything that isn't catering to your beliefs or your ideology as, an attack or bigotry, and that's what you're already honing in and looking for, then people go from zero to freak out as soon as they see this stuff. And it's insane, but it's the reality of, like you say, keyboard warriors that just have nothing better to do.
Yeah. And it's not even like, it isn't even always based on politics either. Like I was on social media on a animal rescue site, and I just made a comment that, oh, I'm sad that this dog was rescued, and obviously loved the woman who rescued him and was fostering him. And I just made a comment, oh, it's going to be sad when he has to go to another home, but how sweet that he was safe. And man, like, I just got a barrage of people who don't even know me, like, yelling at me, like, how dare you make her feel guilty, and you don't. Yeah, it's just crazy. We just are living in a crazy world, you guys. And it's like you said, if you wake up and you look for things to be angry about, that's how you're gonna live your life. And there's a little saying that happiness is a choice, and I really believe that you can wake up and you can choose to be happy and to be positive and to spread positive things. And it doesn't mean everybody in the world is going to agree with you on everything, but you just don't have to react to things in a negative way. But I just think a lot of this is I think this is social media has created a lot of this.
In the almighty words of Mr. Hetfield, anger, misery, you'll suffer unto thee.
Yeah.
And this is the land where fun sanity rules, folks. Fun sanity.
Yeah, how do we get off on that tangent?
There's no negative. We don't. We're just calling out the negativity and encouraging people. Like Kathy said, happiness is a choice. Wake up. You don't have to do like I did. If you believe in God, great. If you don't believe in God, whatever. We've talked about this actually with Kathy when Arsenio appeared. But just be nice to other people. What does that cost you anything? No.
Yeah. We don't all have to agree on everything.
Nope. Superman also in the news, and that would be Dean Cain, the former Superman from Lois and Clark, and he's now an agent of ICE, which I know is again this divided nation we live in. It's like some people, hey, cool, he's stepping up doing something for his country, and then there's others, those ones who wake up perpetually aggrieved, and they're going nuts on it. Jim, this is something I know is kind of a sticking point with you. So take us away.
Well, there's been a crazy backlash against this thing Dean Cain's doing. And I mean, for starters, I think it comes from really not understanding what ICE is or what they do. Some people just think they're like demons that just drag people out of their beds in the middle of the night because they look different or something. But they really, I mean, it's not just about deportation, although that's a big part of what they do. They catch terrorists, they catch drug dealers, they catch all kinds of horrible people that do horrible things in this country. They're a really important organization, but I mean, bigger picture, I'll come out and say I'm a big fan of Dean Cain. I love Lois and Clark, so maybe I'm a little biased here, but this guy's been around for a while. He's made pretty good money. He's got a nice house out in Nevada. Left California behind. He really could just be kind of coasting, but he's not. He's a volunteer police officer, and he spends a lot of time doing that. And now he's working with ICE, and he's doing he's kind of lending his celebrity to kind of helping the image of both those organizations. He's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's actually taking some personal risk and working to help protect our country. And, people are trashing him as like, oh, how can you be Superman and do this stuff? Well, I mean, he's probably the closest to an actual Superman of any of these actors. I mean, I love Henry Cavill, but he's not doing this stuff. I love Christopher Reeve, but, he wasn't doing anything like this. And I think it's really important what he's doing. And I think it's absurd that he's just being trashed for something that I think is actually sending a really positive message. He's saying it's important to step up. It's important to protect your country, even for someone who doesn't have to. And I think he's a really good role model. It's just people dragging their own personal politics into this stuff where it doesn't belong. But, looking objectively at what he's doing, I think it's really admirable.
And let's not forget that Dean was also a star of our friend Nick Searcy and the movie Gosnell.
Indeed, he was. Yeah, he's he was really good in that. He's actually a heck of an actor, and I really like that he's used his success for fighting for what he believes in. Nick Searcy is too. A lot of these actors, they've kind of been putting their money where their mouth is, and again, they could coast and just sit back and do the easy thing, but they're standing up for what they believe in. And I think in Hollywood that takes a lot more guts than somebody like Mark Ruffalo, who just gets up there and spouts the talking points, the approved talking points that he hears at every cocktail party. He just spouts those on Twitter, and then gets another $20 million payday for another movie that nobody's going to go see. It's really easy to do that when everyone in town agrees with you. But I feel like these guys, and people like Gary Sinise, who doesn't even talk politics, but he just gets out there and entertains the troops and raises money for the troops, and he's putting his money where his mouth is. He could be making another $20-30 million a year doing movies and TV shows, but instead he's devoting his time to a cause he believes in, and I think that takes a lot more guts, and it's a lot more admirable than just going with the flow, which is what most people do in Hollywood, even people that don't agree with the flow.
Yeah, Gary Sinise is a great guy, and actually so is Dean Cain. I've met him, and I didn't know him well, but he's done a lot of work in Arizona, and he's just a really good guy. So I think, people are so quick to judge, and you see an actor, you don't know what they're like in real life, if you don't know them personally, and yet we sit there and judge them by what we see on TV or movies, or even in just the snippets of what they decide to do in their own time. But until you actually know somebody and meet them in person and talk to them, it's just so crazy how people are so quick to judge.
And you're someone who has supported the troops with their different initiatives. Did you ever face any unnecessary backlash just for loving your country and the troops?
Back when I was doing the majority of my work with veterans organizations, I think the veterans is one area where most people can agree. Now, we're obviously in recent times, there's been a lot more backlash about being patriotic, which is just really hurtful, I think, to someone like me, because I've met and worked with so many amazing veterans. And I mean, we're talking guys who were young, who lost, arms and legs. And I've had Vietnam vets literally hold my hands and cry as they told me their experiences. And, when you meet and talk to them, they're not even, a lot of veterans aren't even political. It wouldn't matter who was in office. They believe in protecting their country. They believe in, they understand that if you're a major country like the United States, you don't have a choice. You have to, you can't have freedom and not have a strong military. And so that's what they're doing, is they're trying to protect us. And we're a country of many, many different stripes. So you're not going to please everybody all the time. But back years ago, you would come together. People would come together at the end of the day. And I don't know why people don't come together anymore. I mean, I think there's a lot of different factors. We could go on and on. I don't think we should get into that, but I think the media aggravates a lot of it. And I think that, there's narratives out there that aggravate a lot of it. And the sad part is when you work with veterans, they're really, they don't care. They don't care if you vote red or blue. They're out there doing what they do because they do love their country. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, with loving your country. And, we have to protect those freedoms. And so I don't know. And when you bring up ICE, I mean, a lot of former military go into working for ICE. I met a lot of people who worked for ICE when I was dealing with the veterans groups. And there's some wonderful, amazing people. And if you saw what they deal with, if you really saw what they deal with and really hear stories, you can't even judge it because you don't know just by watching what the news tells you. So again, I think we live in a world where people are so quick to judge, and people get their information and don't even know the sources they're getting it from. They just see it on the internet, or they Google stuff, they grab things and think, well, these are my facts. And they don't even know if they're true. They don't even, it's just, we live in such a crazy world. And this goes on all sides. It goes on all sides. Like, why we have sides, I don't even understand to begin with, but yeah, that's my little take on that.
Once again, folks, you just march to the beat of the fun sanity drum, and a lot of your worries will go right down the drain. I'm convinced of that. I'm not going to start religion or anything. I'm just encouraging people, fun sanity for your health.
Yeah.
And Kathy, I also want to get into your superhero band over this past weekend. Had a special visitor after your show, and it was 80s-tastic, and because they were playing an 80s-centric show in the same venue where you guys were, just a different portion of it. So tell our all over the place audience who you met.
Paul Young came by our gig, so they had a great 80s show, which had Wang Chung, Rick Springfield, and Paul Young. And they were, my band happened to be playing indoors at it's the Talking Stick Resort and Casino. We were playing indoors, but they also have some special concerts that they do outside they put up a huge stage by the pool. And it's really cool. They bring in national acts, and actually it's DZ Presents is who brings in some of the concerts. And they always just put on great shows, and man, it was packed. I mean, it was sold out, and Paul Young was going on early. So I happen to know a gentleman who plays drums for Rick Springfield, really great drummer. And he came to just chit chat with us before the gig, and Paul Young was walking behind us, and he was like, "Oh, Paul, come over here," because he knew I had been a fan. And so he came over here. Was just the most humble, nice guy, like just the most nice, real, genuine person. And of course has the British accent, and he's just how you remember him, only greater hair. But what a great guy, great shape, and still doing what he loves. And the whole show was awesome. On our break, we went out and kind of could hear it from the balcony, and they just sounded, killer. It was a really fun show.
How was the Ricker was sounding good?
He sounds amazingly good. That guy he's pretty amazing for his age. The fact that he's still singing and playing guitar, as well as he does. I mean, it goes to show when you have somebody like that versus some of the rock stars that should have hung it up and didn't. And I won't name names, but
no, we know who they are.
But some of these guys, they're doing great, and that's just a really fun show. Rick Springfield tours a lot, and I
caught him at the Celebrity a few 2-3 years ago, and it was him.
It's great.
John Waite and
John Waite is. Oh, you know what? Oh my gosh, how can I forget? John Waite was part of this show too.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. But,
and man, he's one of the best. He is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh man, and he does which Zeppelin song does he do? A Whole Lot of Love. He does an amazing take on Whole Lot of Love, because I said it was him, Springfield, Waite, and Men at Work, which is basically just Colin Hay and whoever he has playing with the main stage. But still, I mean, they that was an amazing night. Good 80s centric night. Another DZP live presentation.
We were both at that show then. Yeah, I think we were both there.
Okay. And it's and Rick Springfield, he actually played my church carnival back when I was living in North Hollywood. His niece and nephew went to St. Charles Borromeo, and he played. I had the opportunity to interview him afterwards. I have 2 instances in my life where I got starstruck and I was gaga. and I behaved like a 13-year-old girl talking with Rick Springfield. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life, and I still can't believe that he allowed us to air that thing. But yeah, so Rick, if you're watching, we'll tag you on this one. But would love to make up for that horrible conversation. I apologize 1,000 times.
That's funny.
And Jim, the other one was SE Cup. It was not a pretty.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't blame you.
I'm glad you got to meet Paul Young. Again, just this guy still just has such an amazing voice.
Yeah, I was a little starstruck with him because I loved watching him on MTV when I was younger. And I'm fine in an interview setting. Like, I don't get nervous about interviewing musicians like that because I'll go in with well-researched and know what I want to ask. And it's a different role to be interviewing somebody. But when I just meet somebody like that, that's when I get kind of tongue-tied and I get very dorky, you know. I don't know what to say. Like, I wish I had a brilliant conversation with them, but I never do.
See, and that just hit me. That was the problem. I had just come off of an 8-song set that he had done for our church carnival. And so I was riding high on Springfield energy from a show, and it was embarrassing. But anyway, that's in the past. We move on. So
yeah, we've all had those moments.
Oh yeah, that's. But hey, very quickly, I want to wrap things up because we're still going to be combined with Marty. But I got a text message earlier, and I don't want to politicize this. We're all music-loving people. That's why I want to bring this up. But it was shared tonight on the news. Our president, Donald Trump, his Spotify playlist, and I want to get everyone's reaction to these songs.
Oh,
no, there's one band in particular. I'm like, interesting. Okay. So we're going to start out with some of the more classical. Okay, makes a little bit more sense. But Phantom of the Opera is on his playlist. Jesus Christ Superstar. Elvis, Suspicious Mind, A+ on that call. This one threw me a little bit. Lionel Richie, Hello.
That's a great song.
That's a great song, yeah. But I just imagine, is this him you're looking for, Donald? Here, I'm going to save this one a little bit, but it's a man's world. I'm sure that certain people, walks of life, are going to have a field day with that one, from the misogyny standpoint. But on the flip side, just right after that, Nothing Compares to You, the Sinead O'Connor version. Let's see, the Stones, You Can't Always Get What You Want. I know they're not happy with him playing that song at rallies, but you pay your licensing, you're allowed to do it. Let's see. I'm going to save this one. Elton John, great call. I think everyone should love Elton John as far as I'm concerned. Here's stunner number 1. Guns N' Roses, November Rain.
Nothing wrong with November Rain.
It's a great song.
It's not one that it's a little too grandiose for my, and I'm more of a gutter level sloppy rock and roll. But November Rain, I mean, it certainly has a grandiosity to it. I'll give it that. And great video as well. I'm sure he liked the Stephanie Seymour appearance in that one. But here's the one that really threw me. And we brought their lyrics up in the pre-show. We were testing out some new formatting. REM is on Donald Trump's playlist.
Okay. Interesting.
That is interesting. That's a different one. I'm not a big REM fan myself.
Well, he clearly likes grandiose music. I'm surprised there isn't more Queen on there. But
there you go. Well, there's combined November Rain and Elton John. You got Queen. So yeah, but REM that threw, because I was an REM fan way like the 80s and early 90s. They were very major. They're actually the band that got me away from like the Casey Kasem stuff. When I saw South Central Rain, they performed that on American Bandstand, and Dick Clark was talking about them. So, but that steered me down that road to like college or alternative rock that I started listening to in high school. But yeah, they're a very political band, and politics that are definitely not of Mr. Trump's, or Mr. Trump at some point in his life. But but REM, I got a kick out of that one.
Yeah, interesting.
So is there anyone on there that turned your heads as much as that one did for me? Any surprises?
Just the REM would surprise me.
Hello, I guess, is a bit of a surprise, but I mean, yeah.
Well, maybe if he transitions that into dancing on the ceiling, then maybe I could find a similar film.
Did you
Yeah, I
know
can
that,
see that.
video, dancing on the ceiling? The interesting thing about that video is how they filmed him actually dancing on the ceiling. Did you ever read about that?
It's been a while, but when they did when VH1 was starting to run the pop-up videos, I know they talked about it on that.
Yeah, I didn't know, it's funny you brought that up because I had been seeing, they play all the 80s videos on like Saturdays and Sundays, and I love to watch them because I love the memories of watching those videos. But they were playing Dancing on the Ceiling. I thought, God, how did they film that? And so I Googled it, and apparently they had an actual studio that completely turned.
Yeah, flipped upside down. Yeah.
Flipped upside down, because I was trying to figure out how they filmed that. And I thought it was probably some camera trick or something they did in editing. But no, they actually had a studio that completely did a 360, which I thought was wild.
Yeah, they have a studio that does it. They use it for movies a lot, where people are on the ceiling or something, like horror movies where people are on the ceiling.
I had no idea.
We didn't need CGI back in the day, folks. You made it happen with practical effects.
The things you learn from Googling.
That's right.
Be careful when you Google, folks. It could be harmful for your health.
That's true.
Be careful when you TikTok. But
Indeed.
make sure you go over and see Kathy's her American Eagle spoof over there on TikTok, and hopefully coming soon to Instagram and YouTube, because it's hilarious. It needs to be seen. And I want to thank Kathy. I want to thank Jim. We are three for all in it, and we'll be throwing Marty into the mix through the magic of editing, practical editing. No CGI, folks. We are a CGI less production.
That's right.
Basically,
We don't have that budget.
It's on our budget, exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Kathy, Jim, thank you, everybody. And everyone, once again, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. We had a couple of nice comments on the Naked Gun. People were digging your intro on that one, Jim. I like your
That intro was great.
I like that. Good
Thanks.
time.
Right on.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone, for watching and or listening to All Over the Place. And we'll be back real soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends.